All right, so Rachel, if you want to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. I am Rachel Amstutz, the principal here at Monarch Academy Annapolis. And we're so excited to see you and to have this opportunity to be able to answer any questions that you have that we have answers to. As Brandon mentioned, we are still waiting on some information from the county be able to some of those questions, but there's a lot of things that we can share with you about what we've been doing this summer to prepare and to figure out what distance learning will look like. So we will do our best to get your questions answered. And we also can utilize the chat field. I think between the four of us, we can also, if you want to type your questions in, we can try to grab them from there as well. So tonight, I'm also joined by our two assistant principals, Mr. Brad Clapper and Mr. Shea Johnson. So I'm going to pass it to Brad real quick, and then we'll pass it to Shea as well to just introduce ourselves, and then we'll start taking some questions.
Thank you, Rachel. As she said, my name is Brad Clapper, and I'm an assistant principal at Monarch Annapolis. I am starting my second year here as an AP, and prior to being an AP in the county, I was most recently a Title I math teacher up in a North County school, and then I was also a fifth grade teacher in the county for 6 years prior to that. And for some of the families, I know I've got to meet a handful of you so far. Some came to get a bot yesterday at the school, which was awesome. But others, we're excited to meet everyone and have a chance for you to learn more about the school and learn about us and kind of go from there. So at this point, I will turn it over to our other assistant principal, Shea Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Shea Johnson. This will be my first year at Monarch Annapolis. Previously, I was assistant principal in Prince George's County and Washington, D.C. This is going to be my 7th year as an assistant principal. I'm happy to be a part of this wonderful community. So I need you all to make sure that you hurry up and become part of this wonderful community too, if you're not already a part of it. So I'm looking forward to a great school year. I know we're starting out virtually, and then we'll get in the building and eventually get together, and it's going to be an awesome school year.
Absolutely. And I realized that in my introduction, I failed to tell you anything about me. So I'm going to back up one quick second and give you just a little bit of background. This was my first year, this past year at Monarch Academy Annapolis as well. This coming school year will be my 11th year as a school principal. I've worked in Anne Arundel County almost my entire career, teaching 5th grade and then 6th and 8th grade math, and then working for the Discovery Channel, teaching teachers how to use technology to enhance instruction, and with Montgomery County Public Schools for 1 year working with technology. So technology runs in my blood. I usually love it, but like we've all had some experiences, it can be maddening at times. But we have worked this summer to set up our virtual school to make it accessible and easy for parents and kids to be able to navigate and find things. So I see the first question over in the chat field about, will parents be required to stay with the student the entire learning period online? So the short answer is no. But the slightly longer answer is, we will need parents to help their children navigate showing up online and managing a schedule. Some of you have 2nd graders and 3rd graders and 4th and 5th graders. They can set an alarm, they can set a cell phone timer, they can be there. Some of our younger kids are going to need a lot more help with that schedule. But really our teachers are working to design it that they're teaching your children, that that's just like being in the classroom. It shouldn't be that the parent is having to be there entirely. And I can add that we've made one switch for this year that is unique to our school. Our students in grades 3, 4, and 5 will use Google Classroom as their main platform, which I see that's another question that just popped up here. But our students in pre-K, K1, and 2 will actually be using Seesaw. If you do a little Google search and click around on Seesaw, it is designed for young learners. Seesaw is not as complicated as Google Classroom. You won't have to upload their assignments. They can just push a button on the screen and talk to their teacher. They can push a different button and draw a picture. They can push another button and take a picture of work they've done on their desk. We believe that that will allow greater independence for our younger students. And then we also have created a virtual school, which I'm going to show you tonight. I promise. I'm going to give you a sneak peek, but you have to promise you won't show anybody else. We're keeping it tightly under wraps for a little bit here. But we will definitely give you a look so you can see how you can find things and how you can get help with greater ease. So Seesaw will make it, your pre-K and kindergartners are going to need your help the first few weeks, and after that, they got it. They're going to be able to run with the e-learning platform without as much help as you might have had to do last year. Mr. Clapper, do you want to take the questions about Chromebook distributions and getting the laptops?
Absolutely. So a few questions on Chromebooks thus far. Our plan is to have Chromebooks available for every student at Monarch Annapolis. We are going to be one-to-one for everyone. Families certainly are able to make individual purchases of things if they wish to. We're really encouraging though for the families and the students to actually use the Chromebooks provided from school. And the easiest reason for that is we know that all of the devices and all the programs we're using are going to run on the Chromebooks. So everything as far as the Seesaw, there's different programs called iReady that in upper grades, really kindergarten and beyond, are going to be using. Some of the laptops or iPad devices won't always be compatible with everything we're using. So we're really encouraging families to use the Chromebooks from school mainly for that reason. So there's certainly ways around that, but we want to make them available for everybody. We're actually scheduling 3 different dates for school pickups, and we are, Ms. Sampson, have we released those dates yet?
We have put them out as tentative. So as long as you promise not to hold them to us, and if it's dependent on the shipments coming in, if the shipments all arrive on time, we would love to invite you over on Saturday, August 22nd, or Monday the 24th, or Tuesday the 25th to be able to pick up supplies and Chromebooks.
And really within that are going to be many different materials for the students. We already have the school bags that have come in. We're still waiting on a few materials to come in as well, but that way the students have a bag that they can take with them that day that's going to have a lot of things they need ready for school to start right away. So those 3 dates Ms. Amstead said, there could be some adjustments on that, but we're hoping to have as many families as possible come in on those 3 days, pick up materials, but there'll be a lot more information coming about that as well. We want everyone to be up and running well before the first day of school for the kids.
And one thing that I would add to that is that we have the ability to be fully one-to-one. We have enough Chromebooks for every single student to have their own. And as Mr. Clapper mentioned, it's just easier if they're not sharing with a sibling. So if you need a Chromebook, we have it for you. And we would recommend that you go ahead and get it so that you don't have to have the madness of logging one child out and another child in, or the teenage child is submitting the work on the 2nd grade computer just because of the login. So we definitely have enough Chromebooks to be able to support our entire school with Chromebooks. We have them available.
And there is no cost for those Chromebooks. It's just a loaner process where, you know, if we give them out, you just sign a loaner agreement, and then at the end of the year, we turn them back in. But we want to make it that we don't want technology to be the issue for any of our students. So we will have enough for every single one.
I have a question about the kindergarten start date. Is it going to be a staggered start date like the county calendar indicates, even with it being virtual, or will it be they all start on the same day?
That's a great question. And it applies to pre-K and kindergarten. So for anybody in pre-K or kindergarten, the first 2 days of the school year are reserved for parent-teacher conferences. So there's no school for our pre-K or kinders on Tuesday the 8th, I believe, and Wednesday the 9th. On those days, you will get a calendar notification in August, here in late August, to pick a time that works for your family to meet the teacher individually. Your child gets to meet the teacher. Then the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Monday, are staggered entrance. And even virtually, trust me, my teachers need to teach your children how to mute themselves and how to unmute themselves. And they can do that with 7 kids way faster than they can do that with 21. They learn it quickly, but we can make a lot of fun and games out of it. They'll just teach them how to find things. They'll get to know kids in small groups. So the county calendar does stand for parent-teacher conferences and staggered entrances. That's a great question. I see a few other questions in here. I see the question about the learning hours. We are waiting on Anne Arundel County to share that. Rumor has it might be out tomorrow, that we'll know what the learning day will look like. We broadly understand that there will be live instruction in the morning, a midday break, and live instruction in the afternoon. It will be scheduled. The teacher will post that, and you'll know it in advance what the times are going to look like. At our building, we are planning on both whole group and small group instruction. We recognize that to learn to read, you need to be in a small group. You need to be with the teacher interacting with you, in a much smaller setting than in a whole class setting. We will be utilizing our teaching assistants to support with that as well. And so your child will have many students that they are able to interact with throughout the day. And they also will have cultural arts in that time period as well. So for the exact hours of learning, we're waiting on the county to tell us that. And you can imagine the complications and things that work into that, like the teacher's agreement and the union agreements with all of the employees, and just, there's a lot. But I can say you can broadly expect it to fit within our normal school hours that were posted last year. But it won't be your child tied to a computer from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. There'll be breaks, there'll be a lunch and a recess break, if you will, and there will be a lot of live instruction. I see another hand up. Go ahead.
There was a question just that was related to the Chromebooks too, about should students come for the pickup? When we do that, we're really envisioning almost all of that just occurring in your cars. So you certainly can bring them and have them stay in the car to see the outside of the building. You're able to drive past the playground. We don't anticipate families having to come out. We will have staff on site that are going to help transition that, where we'll have checklists and things you just need to sign off on. But all of our staff is going to take care of actually bringing things out of the cars and making that transition as easy as possible. So you certainly can, but we won't be able to go in and see the school at all during that time.
Mr. Clapper, how techie are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Do you think you could share the screen and show the map about how we envision that process looking on those days?
Yes, I need just a minute.
If you pull that up, it looks like I see an Adrian has a hand up in the air.
Yep.
Hi there.
Hi, and it's nice to finally actually see your face since I've actually got to talk to you on the phone. For the e-school, the online school, would their day look exactly like the regular, or will their day be different because they're a completely online school? And then another question will be is, for like if they miss that class, like let's say if we have to go to the dentist or the doctor, will it be recorded for them to go back later and be able to get the same information?
Two very good questions. So eSchool was designed and approved by the Board of Education, the Superintendent's Office, long before we knew that we would all be virtual this fall. So we have designed eSchool to be different, and there is flexibility. So if you signed up for eSchool, you saw our model is 20% at home, or 80% at home, 20% in school. We're obviously not allowed to have that 20% in school until the county says that we're all allowed to be gathering again. But the structure of the day was intentionally designed to offer families more flexibility with their scheduling, and to be able to accommodate whatever the reason is that you chose in eSchool, an all virtual school. So our teachers do plan to record the mini lessons. Right now, the state of Maryland and all of the local districts are working on the legalities around recording videos that include other people's children in them. So if they're not able to record the video with the students in them, they will be able to record the skills that they're teaching with them teaching it. And if you can imagine a whiteboard or the technology around them. But just today, the county let us know that they are waiting on the legal issues surrounding recordings. But the eSchool is designed to be flexible. As your principal, I'm gonna always encourage that the kids show up as much as possible for live instruction with the teacher. We can't replicate it, but it was designed to be flexible for families that needed that. So if you're not able to be there at the designated times, the teachers would have things available for you to be able to go back to and to find the core instruction pieces. And then we also recognize students move at different levels. Every student moves at different levels. And sometimes they hit a bump and it takes them longer to do one skill than it did the other. It's not that some students move at a slower pace and some fast and some medium. It's really skill dependent. And so there will be times that your kids will be able to finish a task fast, and other times that they're going to get stuck, just like they did in the classroom, the eSchool teachers will be able to modify and accommodate that. In both eSchool and the virtual learning for everybody, you're going to see some mixes of things. There will be times in that backpack that Mr. Clapper was telling you about, they will get a handwriting without tears workbook. We teach handwriting. We use it through the workbook and through a keyboarding program. That workbook will be in there, and part of their daily schedule is going to be to work on their handwriting workbook. They don't have to be logged in live in front of the teachers to do that. But that's part of their day to go get that done. And then the same thing will occur for some other tasks. They may need to go read independently and come back. Some kids will do that faster than others, so that the school day is going to feel different for different children. And we're going to need parents to help us know if something's taking too long, if something's frustrating, if something is, if it's just not matching for the student. We're going to ask you to really advocate with the teacher and let us get it, like fine tune it to make it work for your child. I see that we have some, I see a parent who's seen Seesaw and likes Seesaw. Seesaw is definitely a wonderful platform for our younger students. We hit the questions about Chromebook.
Mr. Turner, can you give me share screen access so I can show that map real quick?
Yes.
Mr. Clapper, can I answer one question while we're doing the tech switch?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I see a question about interactive classes and Zoom and other things like that. You are going to see a lot of live interactive classes. You're going to see more teamwork, more groups, more collaboration, and the day is going to be full of logging in and spending time with teachers, whole groups, and small groups of instruction. We do not use Zoom. We broadly use Google Meets right now as our platform. Anne Arundel County does not allow Zoom, but they will be seeing their classmates and seeing their teacher every single day and for large chunks of the day. It will be live. Our day will start with relationship building and morning meeting and hopefully laughter. And you'll see community building happening, and then you'll see live instruction in every content area.
Hey, Brad, I made you the host.
Great.
Real quick, I can answer the question about switching from eSchool to our brick and mortar, our traditional in-school program. I can help you with that request. I'm going to put my email in the chat, so reach out to me directly and I can help you with that.
So if you can see my screen, anyone able to see that?
Yep.
Perfect. So if you're not familiar with the building right now, what's going to end up happening on the materials pickup day is the only way to get to our school is coming in off of a road called Gibraltar. It also, one side is on West Street, but they both converge into Capitol Drive, which comes in on the bottom of the screen. When you first turn in, if you're familiar with the old Annapolis library that was at our location here up until this spring, families are going to come in to this first parking lot at step 1. They're going to enter the parking lot from there. They're going to park over here on this parking lot at step 2. And then we're going to have families either submit or hand in emergency cards for this coming school year. No matter which school you're at Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we ask that every family have an emergency card on file. So families will hand those in. After that, they're going to exit out this parking lot at step 3 and then circle around the building. And if you follow the arrows going all the way through, that leads us to the gym. We're going to have the student backpacks ready for all of the grade levels at that point. So you'll tell the staff members what grades your kids are in. We'll check their names off our list, pick up backpacks for you, and then bring those out to you. After that point in time, you'll then be able to go around to point 5 right over here, where you can see the butterfly. That is what we refer to as Monarch Landing. Super important part of the building whenever we're in session. And there, if you're getting Chromebooks, you'll pick those up in that location. After picking up the Chromebooks, cars will go straight and they will follow the arrows out on the right-hand side of the screen, back to the bottom, and then exit back onto Capitol Drive. So we're really envisioning a great chance that, you can drive around and see the building. You'll get to see the playgrounds a little bit as you're doing that. But we are going to have families remain in their cars for the social distancing aspect.
I think it's probably important, Mr. Clapper, that we introduce tech.
Yes. So my almost 2-year-old son is helping us right now. So he's providing some narration as well.
I see a few more questions that I can answer, and then hopefully I can share the screen in a few minutes and show you our virtual school and our platform there. One of our favorite questions was asked, and that's, will students need to be dressed in their uniform during virtual learning? We have considered a uniform modification. Our teachers have advocated for PJs and comfy clothes and all of that. What we do ask in this environment, it does not need to be our Monarch Academy uniform, but we do ask that they adhere to the code of conduct in terms of what's printed on their clothing, and that they obviously are fully clothed. That'd be great. Those are probably the only two pieces that we really would ask that you consider. And we do plan to have a lot of spirit days and fun days, and show something from your house, or a class can do something, or a whole grade can do something together. And we'll be working to give you notice on those days as well. We found that was a lot of fun in the shutdown time in the spring, to be able to let kids kind of show them personality during the e-learning time. For pre-K, our pre-K students do attend daily on the same schedule as Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So if school is in session for kinder, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, we're in session for pre-K. The only differences are those staggered entry days, and there'll be 2 times in the year for parent-teacher conferences that are just for kindergarten and just for pre-K. But other than that, they still would attend Monday through Friday when school is open for everyone else.
And Rachel, we had an earlier question. A parent wasn't aware that we currently offer pre-K. So pre-K was recently approved. So for some of our earlier registrations, you may not be aware. That's something that was approved 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. So we are in the process of accepting applications. I'm going to put the link for the Anne Arundel County website that you need to complete the application in the chat. The first step is to complete that application, and then we'll follow up with some more information on how to register. Just so you all are aware, this is a state-funded program, and we categorize our acceptance. So first priority will go to our income-eligible families. Second priority would go to students with IEPs. And we do have a third category, which is families that do not qualify for category 1 or 2, but you do have the option to pay a fee per month to be entered into the program.
I've seen a few questions about the ACPS Chromebook survey. For families that are at our school, Monarch Annapolis, you actually do not have to fill out the survey, and we're asking you not to fill it out, solely for the fact that all goes to the county initially, and then they spread that to the different schools and kind of work with them there. We're actually taking care of all of that with working with the families ourselves individually. So if you have seen about that, please do not fill that out if your student is going to be at Monarch Annapolis. We'll be giving out information as far as the signups and how to kind of move for the next steps there. But it is a different process for it, just to make sure everyone's clear on that. So you do not need to fill out the survey if you're here at Monarch Annapolis.
And then there was a clarification question about Seesaw. We will be using Seesaw as the learning platform for pre-K, K, 1, and 2, and then Google Classroom for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I see a question about if we're not comfortable sending our children to school this year in person, once the county does open up for that, can we continue with virtual learning? That is exactly why our eSchool was created. So if you're thinking that you want to be in e-learning the whole year and that's a model that works for your family, you likely work with Mr. Turner to make sure that the application is specifically for one of our eSchool seats. We are limited. The county approved 150 eSchool seats out of our 805 seats that we have. But if virtual learning is what you think is the best move for your family, that's the program for you. And we can easily, Mr. Turner, it's one more paper if they've already registered. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just one more acknowledgement statement. Explaining the eSchool, and you're acknowledging that you are in fact enrolling into that program.
Okay. So I see a really great question here about live instruction, morning, afternoon, or both. You should expect it to be part of both. Every student pre-K to 5 and truly in the whole county all the way up to 12th grade should expect to have a chunk of live instruction in the morning a break for lunch recess, and a chunk of live instruction in the afternoon across all the grades. Those chunks of time may look different for our youngest students versus our oldest students, but everybody will have live time with the teachers and the teaching assistants and their classmates, both morning and afternoon. I don't have the hours yet for students to be online. We do hope that that comes out tomorrow from the county, and we will be sharing that with you as soon as the county releases it. One of the benefits of being on the charter contract side of the house is that we do have flexibility. So I'm bound to adhere to the negotiated agreement and the teacher's contract and all of that, but we do have flexibility in how we support our students and how we program and provide instruction for our students. So we will be sharing more information with you as soon as the agreement is known and what you can expect hours wise. And we know we're about 2 weeks out from teachers coming back. Everybody wants that information now so you can make plans. We do again hope it will be out by tomorrow. For eSchool, that is still contingent on things like the teacher's negotiated agreement, and I do expect that to be out tomorrow. The teacher-student ratio, so that's a fascinating term. If I look at that in terms of class sizes, our pre-K and K classes, we run to 20, and with 20 students, we have a dedicated teacher and a dedicated teaching assistant in every room. In the other schools, you'll see that it's a shared teaching assistant. We put one TA in with every single teacher, and they've got a great partnership between the two adults. For first grade, second grade, we're usually right around that 20 to 22 mark. For third, fourth, and fifth, you're going to see that we try not to go over 25 ever. So usually our biggest class in the building would typically be more in that fifth grade range, and we find that 25 is a good amount there. And so we try not to exceed that. Class assignments and teacher assignments, we are working on those. We spent some time last week. They're kind of getting polished. We're also taking in our new students. We did our spring articulation for students that were returning, and we've started to add in our new students as well. It's a fairly complex process. So in kindergarten, if we don't know your students, we kind of just divide them up evenly. We do our best to figure out how to split them evenly. By first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, we're really looking at the social emotional balance in the classroom. We want to make sure that we get a group of kids together that can function well as a community, but then we also target their academic needs. So we may have clusters of support for gifted and talented, for ESOL, for special needs, and then we build classes around those structures and those teaching assignments. We do plan to notify parents in kindergarten of their conference date, so you can make your arrangements with your employer or whoever you need to do that with. We plan to get that out to you late next week. I believe it's by next Thursday, so you've got a couple weeks to be able to get that information and to let us know. If it doesn't work, just let us know and we'll figure it out. I've got a barking dog here now. And then for first grade through fifth grade, we do anticipate letting you know before September. So we're looking at that last week in August that you would hopefully have a teacher assignment. And we aim to get that emailed to you. So you want to make sure we have your email on file.
Ms. Armstead, I got a quick question.
Yes.
I'm going to go back a couple of questions before, as far as being comfortable sending the kids back while we're in eSchool. I'm reading that question as the same question I'm having. If we're not comfortable because of the pandemic sending the kids back for that 20%, is the school going to provide any provisions for that for families that's in that position?
So if you are registered in eSchool, the 20% time is actually up to 20%. The only mandatory time for eSchool would be state assessments or county assessments that are required to be administered by a teacher in that classroom setting with a teacher. If you are in the regular, like a regular in-school seat, those are governed a little bit more by the county and by the return to school. So if you're leaning towards, you definitely want to be guaranteed the opportunity to have virtual learning all year, you're really going to want to be in an eSchool seat. and the only requirement for coming in would be state assessments. The other 20%, it's really fluid to your degree of comfort level with your child coming to school. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Also, when do the assessments happen?
I'm sorry, can you say that part one more time? The assessment time?
Yeah, like what time of the year?
So, we're in that land of waiting on the state and the county, a lot of things. Assessments begin in 5th grade in March. And then for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, April and May would typically be the time of year that we see those assessments. We haven't heard if we are administering those assessments this year or not. So we're kind of waiting for the county, but the vast majority of those will occur in the spring.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Mr. Turner, I need to jump and figure out why those dogs are barking so much. Could we take any other admissions questions for a second, and I'll be right back?
Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, I have a quick question. So I have 2 kiddos that are coming in with the virtual learning seats only. They've been accepted, paperwork done, all that. Do I need to do anything else at the school that they're leaving as far as transfer packets or anything like that? So you guys have all that information prior to them starting?
So we handle transfer packets. It's always helpful for parents to help in that process. It speeds it up just a little bit because schools tend to be a little slow in transferring packets, and rightfully so. It's a lot of students that are moving around during the summertime. So it's always helpful for parents to help, but ultimately we handle the transfer packet request.
Okay, thank you.
And I had a question from a parent earlier. I was in the middle of typing a response. So if you have completed the registration for a student and the student was already in the county, don't stress over what's left to do or what you're missing. Our registrar will reach out to you if anything is missing, but you've completed all the required documents, and the rest of the information will be in that transfer packet. But if you have a case student, then we have to have those immunization and shot records before the student can start school.
I have a quick tech question relating to the Chromebook. Are there any particular headphones that you all would recommend to use with the Chromebooks in particular?
So great question. We are actually in the process right now of ordering headphones for all students that include a microphone within them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we are hoping that'll be ready for the bags to go out as well. We're right now working with a lot of companies trying to get things in to just get everything settled, but that is the one we're looking at right now. So if it's not there right away, we will be having it soon after that.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Clapper, do you think maybe you should give a few more hints about those super cool bags that are being put together?
It's a lot of really neat stuff. I don't want to say too much, but we looked at some of the basic things like pencils, crayons, markers, things like that. But there's a lot more that's coming in with it too. So I was thrilled to see what all we were kind of looking at. And one of the great things we can do is be very creative in terms of what we do for the kids. So there will be absolutely some basic stuff that you would kind of expect for something like this, but there'll be a lot of extra still.
That was a very conservative response, Mr. Clapper. You're good at keeping secrets.
I try.
So we are looking to give you that well-rounded bag that would have some things to help with music class, some things to help with PE, some things to help with art. So if you've seen the county list of what's coming in the elementary school bags, you can anticipate those. But we've also worked with our team to make sure that every teacher knows that the kids have a consistent set of resources. Come November or really September, you might not be thrilled with our music choices, but we think that your children will be able to learn music through one of the tools that we're providing them. And that also brings me to another question. I haven't seen it over here. I'm catching up again. All of our cultural arts will occur, and they will occur virtually. So your child will have time with our art teacher, our music teacher, our PE teacher. This year, and media, this year we're launching a new class called Canopy. Canopy is an arts integrated social emotional class. So you can expect to see kids doing theater. You can expect to see, and we're going to figure it out online. We are going to find some ways to get them doing it. One of our third grade teachers this summer ran a reading fluency camp and did a reader's theater of a fractured fairy tale, and she figured it out. Those kids were able to unmute, say their line with expression, remute, and another student would pick back up and do it. So we're getting better at this. We're learning how to make these tools work for us. But the Arts Integrated Canopy course, we're really excited about that. It will tie into our social emotional curriculum, and it will give students the chance to practice some of those social skills that we're helping them learn. What does empathy mean? And helping a young student understand that. But your students will definitely have time with all of our specialists. It looks like, I can share this part, I believe, it looks like it will be live 30-minute blocks with the arts teachers. So you might have PE on Monday and art on Tuesday and music on Wednesday, but it looks like it would be about 30 minutes. I can proudly report, and I don't know, Mr. Johnson, do you want to describe your experience with the directed draw activity and learning how to draw a crab online with one of our amazing art teachers?
Well, I'm not an artist.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's not my profession, but I learned a lot that day. I'm confident that when the kids get back on virtual learning, that Mr. Johnson will be able to draw a little bit better every time we have art class. Our new creative arts team is amazing. I was not interested, but I was there. But by the time the class ended, I was very interested on learning how to become better. So I'm looking forward to a great year with our creative arts team.
You sure you don't want to show them the crab, Mr. Johnson?
No, I'm gonna keep that one to myself. But listen, in February, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna pull my crab out every time I see you all. I'm gonna pull it out.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that.
All right.
So I see that Mr. Clapper was able to contain his pride very well there. His crab had basketball shoes on and all kinds of fanciness. But
Yes,
our
it did.
arts teacher, she coached us and the kids. We were on a call with probably 20 kids. She gave us feedback in the moment and gave us praise. Some of us draw better than others. Mr. Clapper's really good. And Mr. Johnson and I were working on this, but we had fun and we laughed through the whole experience. So we're very confident that the art teachers will be able to help our students engage and learn in the arts process at home. And we hope that the toolkit that we're providing will help, that there'll be paint, there'll be a way to make music, there'll be some PE equipment pieces that can help them engage with those as well. I see a great question about socializing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if I can add, the creative arts team, they give us just that energy that we need, because we understand that people are tired of being at home. The kids want to be at school, and I'm telling you, the energy that the team brings is really, really going to get the kids excited about class.
Absolutely. There's a great question about socializing online. So yes, we do anticipate that there'll be more collaborative learning. Just today, I learned about some things coming out from the county that will offer, it can't be recess, right? Like we don't have recess to be able to replicate virtually, but they are looking at a structure throughout the week, I believe twice a week, that will be supervised by staff to provide some just socializing time that isn't about content or a specific curriculum. But we do envision that daily there will be interactions with their peers. And then also, if you were with us last year, I see a few familiar faces. You know that our social emotional team and our behavior team, they do lunch bunches and chat and choose and games. And at one point, Mr. Clapper and I, we ran a couple of incentive games. I'm trying to think what they were. We did Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with the fifth graders, and what was that, Pig, the math game with the fourth graders. We offer fun things as celebrations for the students. And so any student that had completed their work the prior week got to do a game session with us. And I think the other alternating group got to do a dance session, so that they've got time to be kids. They've got times to laugh and to see each other and to just interact with each other like they would at school as well. So our social emotional team has definitely been planning the social times And even, you know, in school, if your child's going through a rough patch, the school counselor's there. They're able to do a lunch bunch group or to do a short-term study, like a skills building group or friendship group or things like that. We have those opportunities coming as well. So the team, we've expanded our social emotional team. We've added a dean of culture. We have our school counselor, our school psychologist, we've expanded to full time. And we have two amazing folks in our behavior team. And so interestingly, we're hearing from parents now that they're seeing different behaviors at home with their students than they did. Some students are more resistant to e-learning. Well, I've got a behavior coach that can help. They can put in an incentive chart and help you come up with a structure and take the weight off the parent and let the teacher or the behavior team be able to set up a structure to try to work with your family and with your child on those kinds of skills, or where they dig their feet in and they don't want to show up for math that day. They can help them figure out what's going on. So we've got supports on all sides with that. I see questions.
I have a question,
over.
please.
Sure.
I am a returning parent. I have my third one coming for kindergarten. I wanted to know, is there a way that the school is going to do an assessment to know what levels, for not for the kindergartens, but for the second and third and fourth grades that are coming in, for them to know their levels before they place them in the class, so that sometimes when they give them a work, they don't just run through it and say, I know this already, then they'll be sitting there doing nothing or playing around or getting distracted with other stuff. Do we have a way of doing that?
So that's a really great question. We have some baseline data that we use to make our class placements already. So things we knew about your children before the school shut down last year. So that's our starting point. And then we do try to have a variety of levels within each class. So typically we would have reading group levels that would vary, that we are required by state law to make sure that students who are identified as gifted and talented have time with other students who are performing at that level. We also are required with special education to make sure that students get those services. So we cluster students into courses, and we have a lot of data that we do look at. As you know, in the shutdown, it was harder to get data on students. And some of you might know, it was really hard on my youngest kids because I said early on to my kindergarten teachers that they were good to go. The responses we were getting online were complete sentences, perfectly capitalized and punctuated. I know you didn't have a choice but to help them. So we couldn't tell where they were entirely. We have some new technology tools. We found a new one this week where the teacher can turn on whiteboards, and your child's whiteboard, they see their whiteboard, but the teacher sees all 20 whiteboards. Your child doesn't see the other 19, teacher does. So we put their writing, their work. Honestly, we will need some time in the beginning of September to administer some assessments, to listen to your child read, to present a text to them onto the screen, and to level and make sure that we know where they're at. If you were with us last year, you know that we use the iReady system. It's been in place in the Monarch schools for a long time, and the county is shifting to iReady as well. That will be a data point. We beg you to please let your child struggle through it all on their own and to not help them. We need to know where to meet them at. We need to know their performance level. So if you were with us last year and your child went through that and did it on their own, we have some data on them. We have some idea of where they're at. But our teachers need to work in small groups and to hear your child read and to see them solve a problem and see where the conceptual errors are, if there are any, or to know we need to go higher or we need to fill in a skill here. So you can expect that in September, which would be typical to a normal school year as well, that we need a little bit of time to, yes, we will be leveling. We will be doing small group instruction. We will be extending the learning for our learners who are ready to go further. And we will be supporting and scaffolding the skills if there's any makeup that needs to happen. This might be a good time to also mention, you're probably hearing in the news about the CARES Act funding, the money that came from the government to support schools in this shutdown. One of the grants that we received is specifically tied to tutoring. It is only allowed to be used for tutoring between now and the end of December. In our school, we will be providing one-on-one tutors. We're actively recruiting teachers, some retired, some current. to support any remediation needs that might have resulted with the school systems being shut down and less, we called it emergency teaching, but less daily teaching before. So we're very closely analyzing our data right now and working to identify students who would benefit from that tutoring and to put that structure in place as well.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Clapper, do you see any questions, Graham?
I do. There's
Oh,
a question
sure.
from Kate Emerson. I don't know if we got to hers or not, but I'm going to unmute Kate here real quick. Kate, are you able to ask your question?
I'm not sure which one because I think they hit it for me.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So I see a few, Brandon, I might need help with this one. E-school seats, if they're preschool, knowing when if they've qualified for a seat.
Yeah, so we're getting around this week to sending out offers for the e-school. I'm sorry, for pre-K in general. So if our registrar hasn't reached out to you already, she should be following up with you. Again, but keep in mind the priority now for pre-K is our Category 1 income eligible families.
Perfect. Let's see. I see questions about school supply lists. The way that we have designed our backpacks, we pretty much think you won't need to buy school supplies. That said, we all know that kids like the folder with the cat on it or the unicorn or the motorcycle. They might want their own personalized things, but we will be providing them their basic supplies. So they'll be getting a knapsack, a drawstring backpack, if you will, but not like the backpack that you might pick for them. So things like that you might want to supplement with, but we do believe that the supplies that we offer should carry them through. That's our plan. It is our first time doing this, and we've made some estimates, but we do think that you will not, let me promise you this, you will not see a school supply list from us. There will not be something saying we need you to go out and buy these things. So you should be covered with us. Let's see, I see during remote learning for all, are the e-school and non-e-school students in class together? So actually, no, they're not. E-school students have dedicated e-school teachers, and they are 3 of my teachers who were on staff from last year. They really loved teaching online and they brought some greatness to it. The kids, if they're in 4th grade, they're in 4th grade. So when we do a 4th grade town hall, they're gonna come to the town hall with the entire 4th grade. But when they're grouped in their daily instruction, they are with their classroom of other students who are in e-school. So if you're a teacher at my building, you're either teaching e-school kids all year long and you know that you're virtual all year, or you have our in-school students who are e-learning until the restrictions are opened up and kids can come back in. So it's not a mix, or it's not one teacher trying to teach both or live cast or stream. It's dedicated teachers for the e-school program.
If your child is in the e-school program and would like to partake in in-person learning when that becomes available, would we need to register them for the brick and mortar school from now and unregister them for the e-school?
Yes, correct. You would want to switch into the brick and mortar program because those students will be virtual for the first half of the year. And then once it's safe for students to return, they will return back to the classroom.
So different classmates and everything from brick and mortar to,
Yes.
you know, everyone is starting virtually for right now.
Right.
Yeah, so the best example I came up with to answer this question and help parents understand the difference is when you think about the universities, Maryland University, just use that as an example. They have traditional schooling where students come to school, but they also have an online program. Those 2 programs are completely separate with completely separate teachers. Going into the fall, Maryland will be virtual. So everybody will be online, but once it's safe for everyone to return, those traditional students, in-school students will come back to school, but online will remain online.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
With that, you mentioned something about uniform. Will when the school kids are allowed to go back to school, go to their 20%, whatever programs you have, will they be required to wear a uniform? Or will they be allowed to just wear their regular clothes?
That is a really great question that I think I'm going to have to get you an answer for. I don't have that answer just yet. We do know that when they're at home and online, no uniform required. In the building, our uniform isn't terribly restrictive. It's khakis and a polo of certain colors, and there's quite a few color choices. But we haven't finished writing. We're in the middle of finishing our handbooks for e-learning and then updating our regular handbook. So I can get you an answer to that soon. But for the foreseeable future between now and January, you can wear anything you want. I see a great question about student IDs. Student IDs, if you're transferring from another county school, that ID transfers with you. It's the same student ID your child had at their past school, and it travels with them for their entire journey in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. If you're new to Anne Arundel County or you have a pre-K or a kindergarten student, that number gets generated after you've finished all that required paperwork and you're fully registered, and then the secretaries input that data into the PowerSchool system. So I know many parents were needing that number to be able to sign up for a Chromebook through the county. But for us, you don't need that number to sign up for a Chromebook, because we're just going to give you a Chromebook. You're going to sign a form for it. You'll just give us your child's name, but you will get the login number before the start of the school year. I see a really great question, and Mr. Clapper, I'm going to pass to you about the second part of it. But the first part asks about parents that are working outside of the home all day, and we fully recognize that that's a challenge. We've heard some ideas around the parent community of partnering and working with parents locally to be able to support that. I do know that the county and the Children's Guild have been in talks with some of the daycare providers and the Y-Care programs and the open door programs to see if there might be daycare options. We have not heard officially that is occurring, but it is a possibility that's being talked about, and even at our building, if that becomes allowable through the health department. So we fully understand that is a big challenge for parents. We do hope the way that we have structured our program has your child being able to do the vast majority of their work independently. So if you're working from home, they should be able to have a dedicated workspace. Their teacher's going to direct them. They'll need your help with the schedule and the alarms originally and setting up those structures, but they shouldn't need that constant supervision. And obviously that varies by the ages. If you have a 4-year-old, we know they need a lot more support than maybe an 11-year-old does. Mr. Clapper, the second part of it, though, talks about screen time and migraines that result from screen time. So I think that's a really great way to talk about 504s and specialized instruction.
Absolutely. So in the spring, the goal was for us to just try to include, and I run the 504 program for Monarch Annapolis. In the springtime, it was really looking at, what can we do in that situation to make it the best we can for students with the 504. What we're doing this year, we haven't gotten every answer yet. Some accommodations, though, are going to be, really tough to bring into it in terms of, when you think of a preferential seating, in this, your student's going to be sitting in front of a computer for that time frame. So some accommodations, we have to look at and kind of work with the best we can on it. But teachers will still be able to do the check-ins. They will still be able to do a lot of those pieces that are on there. As far as more specifics in terms of individual plans, it really depends on that student. So I'm familiar with all the ones we had in our building last year. For incoming students with a 504, I would have to look at that and kind of work with you to see what's realistic and what we can bring in to make that accommodation work for your student. Otherwise, in terms of avoiding the screen time, we are working with staff where we are not anticipating, and we're still waiting for the county again to give us that final schedule. We're not anticipating your students to be on the entire time that whole way through. We're looking at options on our end as far as having breaks where, when you think of like small group instruction, the teacher might work with one group for 15 minutes and then another group. So there might be time where they're working on, your students working on something else, possibly through like one of the workbooks we have for the math program, could be looking at different books. So we're never envisioning them to be on that device for that entire time all the way through. It's tough to say that without giving you every answer right now, but once we get a little more clarity, we think that'll be a lot easier to do. But we're, again, looking for the way we can kind of break that up. Teachers are aware as well that we want to give them realistic tasks that they can do, but also make it work that we're not, I don't think the goal for anybody is for the kids to be sitting in front of the computer the entire time.
So for those of us that have, that are essentially, where our kids are, like our kids go into daycare, where she may not be able to do all these in front of a computer activities during daycare, is there a way for us to stretch those activities out through the afternoon or the evening or the weekends where we have one-on-one time with them? Or how strict is the hourly attendance requirement?
And are you in e-school or in school?
In school.
In school. E-school has a bit more flexibility. We're
In school.
Right. So the in-school, we have the restriction. We're required to follow the Anne Arundel County attendance policy. We haven't seen that yet. It's going to come soon. So we know that Anne Arundel County is recording attendance daily, but we don't know what the definition of that is yet. We're hopeful that that comes out this week. Our teachers are going to work with our kids and with our families as much as possible. If the county or the state says we have to mark them absent or present based on this fact, we will do that. Last year, we kept track of attendance by fully present and engaged. We knew if some kids were able to do the work later and got it done on the nights or the weekends, we tracked it by work completion. It was a slightly different setup with the flexibility provided by the state. This year, we're hearing that they definitely do need to be there. If it's possible for them to take a Chromebook to the daycare provider, they could log in there. And then I think that the teacher would be able to help with stretching like task due dates and things like that, but it would be really hard to replicate the live instruction. Was that another question? Okay.
Another one I saw.
I have a question for my sister. I'm sorry. I have a question for my sister regarding lunches. We live a little bit far from the school. We don't live in Annapolis. We live in Severn. And she was wondering that how would lunches at the school going to still do the free pickup lunches, or how is it going to work? Can you please explain a little bit further for me, please?
So that's another really great question that we're waiting on the federal and the state government to share with us. The current plan where you can pick up lunch at any regional pickup center expires, I believe, on September 1st, I think. We have not heard what the school year plan is going to be just yet. So we're hopeful to get that in the next round of information as well. But this year you could pick it up anywhere. So we know we do serve the entire county. We have people in our school from every part of the county, and we are hopeful that that continues to be, but that's actually not within our control for the lunches, but we will let you know as soon as we hear what the plan is. I see a great question here about the kindergartners and pre-K and the attention span online. So one thing that we did this summer with our e-school students was we launched the Summer Rocketeers program. And we did it intentionally to build community within our new students that were coming for this program, to iron out the technology ahead of time to let us know what the fall was going to be like with everybody getting a new Chromebook and trying to learn all these new ways of getting in and all of that. And what we learned was my pre-K teacher, she's got those kids playing Simon Says, they're standing up, they're dancing. There's a dance contest this week in pre-K. We're seeing that they're actively able to sustain being online with her from 60 to 90 minutes, but it's not sitting there staring at a screen. There's laughing, there's giggling, there's sharing. There was a big debate about, do you prefer tacos or pizza last week? Like that was the really big thing that everybody wanted to chime in on. So our pre-K teachers are certified in the areas of working with the young children, and they are working very, very hard to make sure that it's pre-K, that you hear singing, you hear laughing, you're probably going to see some puppets, and that they're going to be very mindful of the attention span of our youngest learners. I see two questions about emergency cards. In past school years, it would have come home with your child a paper copy on the first day of school, and then we would have asked you to fill it out, and we would have hounded and harassed until we got them all filled out. We do not know if it's going to be a paper copy or an electronic process this year. Whatever Anne Arundel County decides for that process, we will follow. If it is paper, which was the original thought, we were told it will be part of the day when you pick up your backpack. Step one will be filling out the emergency card, and then you'll go around the building and drive around to get each of the other things. If it is an electronic one, we will send it out and we'll make sure, I'm sure the county will as well, but we'll get you those instructions as well.
There was a question regarding buses for in-school students. Our full intention is if students are back in the building, say hypothetically in February or when that is announced by the county, we would still follow the expectation from the county at that point. So we will be having bus services that would provide for our in-school students, and likely just to coordinate that effort, that information will be sent out well beforehand to make sure parents are familiar with the locations and would have time to find something that works for them. But our school is unique where we bring in students from the entire county, which gives us a great chance to be servicing students from all over. So we'll send those out. This past year, we had 13 buses that went to all corners of the county, North County, South County, over in the Severn area, Pasadena. So we're confident we're going to make things work for each of the families. We are eventually going to be doing a busing survey, so that way we have the information ready. But that'll be a little bit after things kind of slow down just a little bit.
And then I see a great Chromebook question about if you have one from another Anne Arundel County school, yeah, you're going to want to give that one back to them. We purchase our own devices and they're on our network. So in order to access their sites, they're going to want to have a Monarch Academy Chromebook, and the county's going to want that one back. They're going to come for it pretty soon because they'll want to give it to another student. So if you can return it to them, we're happy to make an appointment to give you a Chromebook now if you need it for the summertime. And then once you get a Chromebook from us, you will get directions on how to log in the very first time you take it off campus. And then after that, your child will feel very comfortable. It's the normal way of logging into their school computers. But the first time it has a unique way to log in. I think we've talked about the more opportunities with teachers since it'll be virtual, but if anybody has any more questions about that, please let me know. Part of our answer is dependent on waiting to hear from the county. We've talked about eSchool and partaking in the in-person as soon as the health department and the state, the superintendent say it's safe. 20% time for our eSchool students to the degree that you want them to participate. eSchool is only to 5th grade because eSchool is only at Monarch Academy Annapolis. We are currently, it is only available at our school, and currently our school does at 5th grade. We are designed as an elementary school only here in the Annapolis area.
We are anticipating the eSchool program continuing beyond this year. There's a question about that for students that are in eSchool. What we're hoping for is that the demand will be there, that we can continue it moving forward. We know that for some families, it's going to work out better for them, and it's really about individual needs and that choice on it. But we really anticipate that this is going to go well this year, and we think we put the plan into it and have a staff that's really devoted to making this work for us. And our goal is to then take this year, learn from it, improve it, and then next year make it even better. So we are absolutely planning on having eSchool continue. And hopefully making that a long-term portion of our program.
So Brad, I'll just add that the eSchool it was proposed to the county to be a program for this year and years to come. So I think it created some confusion because we rolled out the eSchool, but then a month or so later, the county said everybody is online. But this eSchool is designed to not only be an answer to COVID, but we found something that we were successful at and good at, and we wanted to make it part of our structure.
And Ms. Dove, it looked like you had a question.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to be polite and not interrupt.
It's really hard.
It is, especially with this many people. Our daughter is going into 4th grade for the eSchool. And I just wanted to find out if she would still have the opportunity for gifted and talented courses if she falls into that category per subject.
So great question, and thank you for asking that. 100% yes. And we are partnering with the gifted and talented consultant. And one of the things that we're doing across our school, both e-school and in-school, is we call it expanding the pathways for gifted and talented. So just so that everybody knows, in our county, we do screening and we do kind of that talent scouting in the primary grades, really K1 and 2, participate in primary talent development. The first round of identification occurs at the end of 2nd grade, and parents are notified if their child will be screened and if they qualify as advanced or gifted. In the whole county and the state, if they qualify as gifted, we are required to program for them. In our school, you will see the same structures that the county has available to our teachers, as well as more. And right now, our gifted and talented consultant is working with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers to create units that are kits within each of the units of study that are designed just for our gifted and talented students. We are working in our primary grades as well to expand gifted and talented, and to really work to recognize that there are underrepresented populations in our gifted and talented community. If you move to America and don't speak English, that doesn't mean that you're not gifted if you can't pass a English assessment. So we're working to expand all of the work around gifted and talented across our school. And the consultant is working with our teachers individually and in grade levels to increase the structures that we use to support gifted and talented students and to align it to our units. So e-school and in-school will absolutely have gifted and talented options in reading and in math. And then we also, by nature, were contracted to be implementing the International Baccalaureate program. And also we are a primary performing and visual arts school. So we've increased our art staffing so that we can be talent scouting for artists and musicians and students who have talents that are beyond reading and math, so that we're growing them and preparing them to apply for Bates for a magnet seat at the PVA program. So you will be seeing even more emphasis on gifted and talented in the coming year and years.
We have a couple hand raises for questions. If we can go to Lakeisha first.
Hello again.
Hello.
Yes, I wasn't sure. I did have a question about the check-ins with teachers, whether they would be more frequently, to kind of see if there's something that our children, may need to work on more, or just wondering if the check-ins will be more frequently than the traditional conference dates, since we won't be seeing them every day in person.
So by that, you mean like parent-teacher check-ins?
Yes. Like, will they let us, so if our child is going to be put into a certain small group, or if they're struggling with something? I mean, my son's in kindergarten, so I'll most likely be right there all of the time. But
right.
Will they let us know, like, will we be kept in the loop of those sort of things outside of the live instruction? Will we receive an email, or like, how will the small groups be communicated to us, or if our child is struggling or anything?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what you will find is that part of this ties into my go-to answer tonight. We're waiting on the county a little bit. There will be a part of every Wednesday that is dedicated time to check in with parents and with staff. So it's teacher hours and teacher office hours. You'll be able to sign up for them. We do know that conferences are on the schedule the same way that they were in the past years. So you can expect 3 rounds of conferences. I believe the first one is in October, maybe December, and maybe March. But they are on the calendar for the normal conferences. But you're right, in this environment, it's different. It's different. So each of our teachers will have a way for you to be able to get in touch with them. We used Google Voice last spring that they can text you. They're relentless. If a child's not showing up, they're going to be texting. If they're concerned, they're going to try to reach out to you. You also can text them or call them on that Google Voice number. And they also have email readily available. So they will be posting. Mr. Clapper, what are the chances you have the link to that virtual school? Do you have that one, or could I send it to you? We can show you the page, but they'll be posting this virtual classroom that is unique to each of those teachers. And in that page, you will find a way where you are able to to connect with them, to reach out on whatever tools work for you and them. But we recognize we have to partner with parents right now. You're going to be seeing more out of your child in some regards than we will, or sometimes the child might turn off their camera and burst into tears because math was too hard and they don't let us see that. We need to know that from you. So we really do want to partner with our parents and be on the same page. So you should have a lot of communication choices, and you will also have access to our social emotional team and our behavior team who can also help. So this is a sneak peek of our virtual school. What you will find is that everything here is clickable. Can we go to the playground first, Mr. Clapper? Everybody loves the playground. And sometimes you have to be in, oh, there you go, got it. So this is our beautiful playground if you've never been on our campus. It's a picture of our school. Obviously, we can't be there right now, but we do have links at the bottom to give your students some ideas of move activities or play work videos to show them some fun games. This it just lets your child see what our school looks like. If we go back to the home page, one of my personal favorite pages of this whole school is when you enter the main building. So this is our building if you haven't been there. If you click on the enter here, if you've been in our building, you know this is kind of what it looks like. That's the mural on the wall. That's the live fish tank in our building. These are our 3 secretaries who are up front and who you've worked with, Miss Harley, Miss Ruiz, and Miss Curtis. Everything here is clickable. Go ahead, Mr. Clapper, show them our page. It's not done, it's just drafted. These are your administrators, and you can celebrate your child and put in for a spirit stick or an award or a call out for them. You can celebrate a teacher. You can get to our newsletter and our code of conduct. You can access a parent resource page. Can you go ahead back to the front page?
Absolutely.
And then if you click on the current resources for parents, we're still building this, you know, that we've been getting it ready, but we're still building it. Each one of these things is linked. If you need the grading policy, it's there at your fingertips. If you need information about Y-Care, it's there. If you need to see our PYP work, it's there. If you want to see our videos, everything here is clickable. If we go ahead back to the main page.
How much longer do you have?
Just a minute. I might get pulled for bedtime here very soon, but I'll show you 1 or 2 more.
Okay. If you go back to the main page from the main hallway, you can go to the classrooms.
Yeah, it's loading a little slower than I would like.
And then basically, I can be patient.
Yes.
Basically, it'll go to hallways. And from the hallways, you'll be able to pick your child's grade level. And from the grade level, you'll be able to pick their classroom. And it'll have your child's teacher's Bitmoji. From their classroom, their teacher will have their page set up. And from that page, you'll see the whiteboard with the morning announcements. We will be streaming morning announcements live every day. At whatever the start time of the school day is, our guidance counselor will do it just like she did when we were in school. And then all of our cultural arts teams, they have pages that you'll be able to click, your child will be able to click. They'll have classrooms, the pre-K teacher that's really taking a lead with this, you'll see their full unit of study, and your child can take their Chromebook, and if we're learning colors and shapes, which I think were the first 2 things, they have linked it to a wonderful selection of books that are being read on YouTube or songs that they can sing. It's all linked there and will be a very live and interactive place for them. So we're still building it. It may look a little different when you get access to it. We will be doing a tutorial soon so that you can see how to navigate and you know how to find everything, and that you can get there to find what you're looking for. So that's one way we're trying to help our families be able to navigate. We know that Google Classroom probably made you want to bang your head against the walls a few times in the spring, and it wasn't great, but now we've had some time to rethink our approach and to use some other tools and to prepare better. So that's one tool that we have for you. I see a couple quick questions that I think I can answer, and then I recognize that I'm about 80 messages behind on the chat. So if I go really quick, if you are out of county, I saw a Prince George's County piece here. Our program is for students who live in Anne Arundel County Public Schools zone in Anne Arundel County. There is a tuition cost. So you'll want to give Mr. Turner or myself a call if you're out of county and do want to participate in the program. The cost does not come to us. It comes to Anne Arundel County as the provider of your child's education, but you will definitely want to talk to us specifically about that. Mr. Bohannon, because I know you, Yeah, you got me on the internet thing. I'm going to pass that maybe to Mr. Clapper or Mr. Johnson and see if one of them knows the ideal service levels for the internet speeds. We recognize that it's a lot when you've got multiple kids in there, but I don't even know where to start with that question.
I don't have a great answer for that one yet. We are going to have to find that out from our tech team a little bit and go from there. I unfortunately have to go out to sign off. Mr. Turner, can you remove me as the host of the site?
Oh yeah, you shouldn't end the whole meeting. That'd be bad.
Yeah.
I think you would just need to make me the host again.
How do I do that? Click here.
And then while you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to keep going for a minute here. Backpacks will be available for eSchool and in-school students. Thanks, Mr. Clapper. It looks like that worked. We appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one. No other school supplies needed at this time. Please return the Anne Arundel County Chromebooks and we'll get you a new one as soon as you're ready for it. Pre-K registration, Mr. Turner, they don't have a lunch number, so do they just select no grade when they go into the magnet tracking program to apply?
Yeah, so the first step is the Anne Arundel County Public Schools application. So when you complete your application, you will be selecting NG or no grade for your student.
Perfect. Great question about instrumental music. We have a full-time band and strings teacher who is remarkably amazing. Mrs. Brimhall not only does all of the stringed and band instruments, but she's also worked with our students to do a bucket band. So second graders have that opportunity. She did that virtually this year and just emailed me yesterday. She wants to make sure we do it virtual and live this year. So we're stepping up our game a little bit there to make it live. They do make really good music, banging on those drums. She really is able to teach them a lot of fundamentals of music. We are able to loan some instruments out, and last year she was doing private lessons with our students in our instrumental program, and we plan to continue offering band and strings opportunities virtually while we're shut down. And then obviously when we come back, that will be a part of our program. I'm seeing questions about parent groups, and we do have some plans for our current parents. I sent out a link yesterday. Once people are registered, we're looking for parent focus groups that can help us build some of that. We do have an active PTA that will be able to support parents and connect parents. And then we have several staff members on our team. On our behavior team, we've changed the title to student and family support, that they're able to be a resource for families as well, to help students be able to stay engaged in e-learning. And we do suggest, it's hard to be mom or dad and the teacher and the person saying, go do your math work. Lean on my behavior team. Let them work with your students and let them take the heavy lift on it sometimes, so that you can be mom or dad and celebrate the successes and be there to support the challenges. And we can be the heavy hand saying, nope, you got to do your math like that. We got to come up with an agreement. We have a team ready to apply for that. It is not too late to apply for eSchool. However, the seats are really filling up in eSchool. In some grades, I only have 1 or 2 or 3 seats left. So if that is of interest, I would recommend that you go ahead and apply and accept the seat quickly. We have, Mr. Turner, I feel like we have more applications. We have a lot of interest, but we're getting close to the fill level, right?
Yeah, so I will encourage anyone that is interested in our eSchool or brick and mortar program, if you haven't completed the registration yet, to do so. One of the reasons I wanted to have tonight's Q&A is because the closer we get to school, those seats will fill. And I also wanted to make sure that anybody that was considering our school had the opportunity to register before we send out offers moving forward. Because any offers that we send out moving forward, you got to imagine that those families have made the decision that they're coming to Annapolis next year, with it being so close to school. So those seats will fill up extremely fast. So I wanted to make sure we cater to the families that have already shown interest before we move forward.
I see questions also about families who have essential workers as both of those parents. I really encourage you to email me or give me a call and see what we can do to help support. We designed our eSchool seats to help parents who were in this situation right now. So let's have a conversation about that, and I'll put my email address here in a minute. I'm going to try to rush through. I know you've been here with us for a while. Student ID numbers, you don't need it to register with us. You can click that they're coming from other in the magnet tracking program. And then again, since we do our own Chromebooks, you don't need their ID to register for a Chromebook. You'll just come and get it from us. So you will get an ID number as soon as your child is registered, and you'll need it to log into some things. So we'll make sure that you have it very soon. Pre-K and K go 5 days a week, just like everybody else does. Let's see. For our parents that that are struggling to juggle all this, we get it. We absolutely get it. And so we want to help you. We want to partner with you. We want to know what you need from us to make this work. So I would encourage you to stay in touch with us, to let us know, to build that relationship with the classroom teacher. And we're here to help. We really are. And we've got an amazing team of on our social emotional side of the house. And we've got, so last year during the shutdown, we had a higher than average participation rate. We were really excited by the number of students that were coming regularly, but we had some students who didn't. And so, boy, we came up with a program. We sat down and we put our heads together. We assigned, I think, 83 students an adult mentor. So one of my TAs or TSAs or a resource teacher called and said, what do you need? Do you need me to call and set an alarm? Do you need me to be the person to help you turn things in? I have an amazing team of adults at this building that are here to partner with you and your child to make sure that we get through this. E-learning is not ideal, but it's where we are right now. So we're here to help you. And if you've met some of our team, you know they're pretty remarkable. So stay in touch with us. We'll help you get through it. We know it's hard. In terms of goals for each grade, we are tied and bound to the Maryland State curriculum. So the state curriculum is published. You can Google that and find it. Our units of study are the way that we organize our curriculum and the order that we teach it in. And I can definitely post that for you. We do have them available on our website for last year's units. Our teachers started in July polishing and rewriting and reorganizing the units of study for this year, but they are publicly available. They are easiest to find on our Google Sites website, and I will try to post that in just a few seconds here for you. I think we've talked a little bit about the attention span for our little guys. Power School will still be for grades that you'll be able to track your child's progress. So if you're used to logging into the parent portal, definitely keep that account, log in. That's where our teachers are required to track grades and where the report card is generated from. So you definitely want Power School and parent portal to see that. Brick and mortar versus eSchool students, I think we've answered this one, but just real quick, eSchool students, it's up to 20% of time in school. The required time is for mandatory testing that requires an adult proctor. So when you're ready for them to come in and engage more, you can send them back in for that. Bus schedule, I think Mr. Clapper answered that one. Mr. Turner, we're not recording this session, are we? Oh yeah, we are. So this recording, how will they have access to this later?
Yes, I'll send out the recording to everyone that were invited to tonight's meeting.
Okay, I see units of study. I will grab that for you in just a minute. Pre-K tuition question, should they give you a call, Mr. Turner? You got that question. You're already caught up there.
Correct, and feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll put my email again in the chat if you have any questions about the application process, or if you already applied and you have follow-up questions. Again, our registrar is in the process of reviewing those applications, and we are prioritizing the Category 1 families, which is income eligible families. And I've also put in the price for Category 3 families that don't qualify for Category 1 or 2.
So I will have to admit here, Zoom told me I had 76 unread messages and I was stressing. Y'all were getting ahead of me. I couldn't catch up, but it looks like I've reached the bottom of this. I was able to pull the link for our Google Sites website. If you have a couple hours, click on everything. If you need highlights, there's a tab just for eSchool. There's 3 years worth of a digital photo library and video library that we're building here called Marvelous Monarchs. The curriculum of study, if you'll find our units of study, and I'm going to post this link directly, but just so you see how it's organized, if you go to the About MAA tab, there's a tab for our IB PYP candidacy. and we know we speak in a lot of acronyms around here, but this is our International Baccalaureate Primary Years Program. It's the way that we structure our curriculum. This link is in there, but it's easier for me to give it to you. This is the link to the units of study for last year. It will give you a broad idea of how units are organized, but in IB, we look at our units every summer and decide what worked, what went well, what could be better, what do we want to change. And specifically this year, our teachers talked about reorganizing some of the units of study. But that document will show you the big 6 units if your child is in 1st grade to 5th grade, or the 4 units that they will engage in this year for the curriculum. Math is very often a standalone, and it just needs to be. It's hard to teach fractions when we're teaching certain other units of study. So they stand alone many times. The other units, you'll see an integration of our reading, our writing, our science, and our social studies. Some units will be more science heavy, some units will be more social studies heavy. There's a thing called a POI, a program of inquiry. So across their entire experience with us, they would complete 36 units, and those units they're balanced. It checks off all of the components of the International Baccalaureate. So you're seeing a synopsis here of it in a quick view. If you ever are curious and want to dig deep into the curriculum, our PYP coordinator is remarkably amazing, and she would love to meet with you and share with you some of the details about this. So those links should help you. They'll keep you really busy. If you're up late at night like I am, you can start clicking around and seeing a lot of information in there. If your children haven't joined us this summer for our Summer Fun series, please do. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, there's a summer fun activity. We've had Justin Burke, the meteorologist, come. The Anne Arundel County Public Libraries, Mr. Matthews, our favorite guy, he comes. We had a magician. There's fun activities for kids to socialize and laugh. There were dance parties, and dear golly, they don't mind dancing online. They're good with it. There's prizes. Ms. Trost gives them lots of prizes at the end of that, and we mail them to your house or deliver them. So we're trying to provide students with opportunities to socialize, to connect, to see one another. So please join us for that. The summer fun, I'm gonna pull that one up too. This webpage is so deep, you can easily get lost in here. If you go to the About MAA tab on the webpage, that's where you're gonna find a lot of things like summer fun. There's also a pre-K link there. This is the summer fun series. You can register for one or all one time and click any sessions you're interested in, and then our coordinator will send you a link to those summer fun events. Let's see, Mr. Turner, any information on the pre-K income requirements? I know it's 300% of the federal poverty indicators. Is there any more information, or should they just work with you on that?
Yeah, I think the easiest answer to that is if you qualify for free lunch, then you'll qualify for category 1 income eligible. It's a lot of different answers to the questions, but it's determined based on household size and income. Every student's registration is reviewed individually. We don't have like a one answer for every family, but probably the easiest answer is if you qualify for free lunch, then you'll qualify for category 1.
And if you've had a change this summer, even if you weren't free and reduced lunch last year, but there was a job status change since the shutdown, definitely reach out to Mr. Turner and our registration team. They can help you look specifically and figure out if you're eligible for category 1.
And if you believe that you're eligible for category 1, by any means, select that on your application, and we'll do our due diligence in requesting the required information and following up with you and working with you through that process.
And then I see another great question about middle school and what happens after Monarch Academy Annapolis. So we are in the Annapolis area, and we are contracted to serve families in Annapolis, but we're also able to be open to the entire county while we're still a young school. If students live in Annapolis, they go to their zoned school in Annapolis. So that's why we are an IB school, because Annapolis Middle is IB, and why we implement the performing and visual arts, because Bates offers that track as well. If you are coming to us from another spot around the county, middle school is as middle school is. So whatever community you live in, middle school would be where you're zoned to, with the added option that you can continue to seek magnet and charter options and things like the performing and visual arts, the STEM, IB, those are options for you. You would go to those based on your community school. So if you live in the northern part of the county, you're probably going to be zoned to North County for their STEM programs. So it just depends on where you live, and that would then go back to your home school. The other option is also that you can apply to be considered for Monarch Glen Burnie, but it is the lottery process. Monarch Glen Burnie does go from kinder up to 8th grade, but it's completely contingent on the lottery process. So when you're looking at middle school, you want to be first in line in that lottery process when it comes out in November. We start talking to parents about magnet schools and lottery options in 4th grade, so you know what the choices are, and then you're ready to apply in 5th grade. Federal employees, I'd probably need to talk with you more specifically about that. I'm not sure that I know about the benefits that we're talking about, so maybe we could find a time to connect directly. And speaking of that, I am going to put my email address in here so that you have that available to you as well. So you can feel free to reach out to any of us. I know we've kept you way longer than we anticipated, but you had such great questions. Mr. Turner, any closing thoughts?
Well, I appreciate all of the families for joining us tonight. I think we had another parent. Anyone have a question? I know we had one question about when will we start to consider category 2? And truthfully, we just have to get through all of the category 1 applicants and verify their information before we can start to consider category 2.
I do have one question.
Sure.
So I have a kindergarten student coming in, as well as 2 other close friends, family members that have kindergarten students coming in, and we plan on having them to work together. Is it possible for us to request that they're maybe in the same classroom with the same teacher? That way they're all doing the same work and we're not trying to do multiple different teachers?
It absolutely is. I would request that you either include that on your registration documents or that you reach out to me and let me know that. We have had several parents reach out to us and just let us know how they're banding together to figure all this out, and we can certainly try to accommodate that where possible. Kindergarten, it's my easiest place to do that. In the upper grades, the only reason I wouldn't be able to do that is if it came down to like an IEP or gifted and talented services, but broadly we should be able to help parents if you're banding together with another group of families to survive e-learning. We can just definitely reach out and let me know.
And then the other question is, we'll be able to see the links after it closes this evening. If say we don't have the school website to look on that you were referring to?
I don't know if they're going to be visible, but Mr. Turner, if I give them to you, would you be able to include them in the follow-up email?
I can save the chat and send it to everyone as well.
That would be great.
And also, Rachel, if you want to send me the links, I can share that as well in the email to parents.
You got it. I'll do that now.
You're welcome.
Well, we really, really appreciate everyone being here tonight and taking the time to join with us. We recognize that it's a tough time. You've got a lot on your minds and a lot to figure out. We're here to partner with you. So send us your questions, send us your challenges. If you're interested in joining the Monarch Academy Annapolis experience and you're not in yet, we do encourage you to get that registration in quickly. We're here in the home stretch and we're eager to finalize and fill up all of our seats as well. We are very, very proud of the team and the community here at the school. So you're going to meet some incredible parents. You're going to meet a lot of incredible kids. And frankly, I think maybe the most incredible staff ever. So we are ready. I think I didn't get to tell you, I have 19 teachers taking a Harvard course right now. Well, 16 teachers and 3 administrators taking a Harvard course right now about designing, teaching, and learning online. And we're having a blast, but we've spent the summer getting ready. By no means will we be perfect. So please reach out and tell me when we're not meeting expectations or what we can do to do better. But we've really spent the time preparing to be able to do this the best that we possibly can. And we really do want to partner with our families. So let us know. Let us know if there's anything you need, or if you have questions, we're all here to help.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You have until October the 22nd to drive me crazy. Call me, text me, it doesn't matter. I truly believe in this school, and I truly believe in the vision, and I want all of our babies to go to a school that provides the proper education. So you have until October 22nd. That's when my baby girl is due. So you can drive me crazy up until that point. So don't ever feel like you're reaching out to me at a hour that I'm not gonna respond. If I'm not available, I won't respond. So shoot me the text, give me a phone call, send me an email, but don't hesitate to reach out to me when you have questions. Thank you for the ones that were saying congratulations.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Have a great night.
All right, have a great evening. Hello, this is Brandon speaking.
And so parents, I am still on the call. If you have any questions that you weren't able to get answered, or if there's anything that hit you as we were ending up here, we're happy to answer any additional questions.
Hey, Rachel, don't forget 6:45 interview with Miguel.
Oh, we kind of forgot that.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello
email
there.
him to let him know.
Yeah, my name is Kofi, and my kids are new at Monarch. I had a question. I live closer to Glen Burnie. And I got a message that one of my kids also got like a slot at the first grade there. But obviously I have 3 kids, so I don't know how is it possible to make the transition from Annapolis to Glen Burnie, because it's going to be about a 30 minutes drive for us.
Mr. Turner, I think I have to defer that one to you. My understanding is that the seats at Glen Burnie, it would just be available when they're available, but yes, kids can transfer between the schools. So it sounds like you have 1 seat open for one of your children. Is that where you're at?
Yes, and I got 3 children. Yeah.
So for that one, if it makes sense for you to accept the seat at Glen Burnie, we can definitely help transfer the record there. But I do believe for the other 2, it would be dependent on seats becoming open for them at the Glen Burnie school.
Okay, but yeah, I don't want to split them. So
right.
But once they get